I listened to your talk with Mark Vernon about Jordan Peterson, and you described him as obscure, and I wondered what you meant by that, and whether I agree or not. I'm not sure.
He's evasive on the question of, is he a Christian, isn't he a Christian? I mean, you know, if you say to Jordan Peterson, are you a Christian and do you believe in God? He doesn't just say yes. He says, well, there's the story and you've got to... I mean, it becomes a much more complicated thing, which, what does he believe? Is he a Christian, isn't he? And if he is a Christian, does he actually go to church services or take the sacraments? I mean, all that is obscure. He's talking about these religious issues, but it's unclear as to his own position and practice. I mean, I can see why he doesn't want to say, I believe in God, because for an atheist, that presses a button. They immediately think they know what you think. I mean, I can quite see that.
Yeah.
And usually the God they don't believe in my discussions with atheists, turns out to be a God I don't believe in either.
Yeah. I think it's more of, he would describe himself as an existentialist. So I think for him to say, I act as if God exists, is probably as close as he'd come to saying, I believe that God exists, because he doesn't really... I've seen him another time say he doesn't really believe in belief. Belief is something you act out in the world. Belief is something that influences your actions. And if it's not, it's merely an intellectual conceit that is ungrounded. And he's also got that, which he also links to the Catholic Church, about this terror of intellectualism for its own sake, because the intellect can go and create worlds that we then inhabit, and they turn out to be missing something crucial.
Yes.
Or all of these intellectual utopias seem to degenerate into dystopias because they're missing something.
Yes. Oh, I agree with all that. No problem with that. And I think that belief just as a sort of system of... I mean, against the idea of religion as a system primarily of belief. I don't think it is. I think it's a question of practice, just as he says, and ultimately the way you behave in the world. And that's why my book's called Science and Spiritual Practices, because I think that we have to start from practices which lead to experience, and that it's primarily about experience. Even for Christians who have a creed which is about a belief system, that's not what most practicing Christians are primarily about. They don't work out their position in relation to the creed and then start going to church. They go to church because they take part in the sacraments, the communion, they like singing with other people, it's part of a community, they're in a sacred place, they observe the festivals, it provides rites of passage, and so on. I mean, it's a whole kind of mythic structure and a pattern of meaning and so forth, as well as a morality. But it's not primarily about abstract intellectual beliefs. I certainly agree with that. But I think the reason I find him obscure is that it's not, I mean, when you explain it, it makes sense to me, but you'd have to listen to hours of his videotapes to work that out, and I just hadn't had the time to go into sort of Peterson studies in the depth that some people have.
I suspect that you two would find an awful lot to agree on, from what I've...
Oh, I think so. I mean, I'd be very happy to meet him. I admire him, and I think what he's doing is great.
I hope that comes about.